Press conference by Foreign Minister Hayashi will begin. Foreign Minister Hayashi, please. Thank you. One item at the top from myself. If various conditions permit, I will be visiting New York, the United States from the 22nd to the 25th of this month to attend the UN General Assembly Emergency Special Session and the Security Council Ministerial Debate, which will be hosted on the occasion of the 1 year from the launch of aggression by Russia on Ukraine. At the UN General Assembly, plans are there to adopt a draft resolution seeking peace submitted by Ukraine. Japan is a co-sponsor as well. I intend to call upon various countries to vote to support the draft resolution at the General Assembly. Peace is not something that is acceptable as long as hostility is halted. Peace has to be peace that is based upon the UN Charter. Thus, I hope to share such recognition with various countries. The Security Council has a responsibility to sustain international peace and stability, and amongst the members, the permanent members are with heaviest responsibility. Russia, who is a permanent member, is engaged in aggression of Ukraine, which is completely unacceptable. As the foreign minister of a non-permanent member of the Security Council, I would like to clarify such fundamental position of Japan. And I will also take advantage of this opportunity to engage in discussions with various countries to exchange opinions on various global issues, including Ukraine. Through these initiatives at UN fora, I hope to work towards building a global consensus on the need to defend international order based on the rule of law. That's all from me.
Please raise your hand if you have a question, and when called upon, please proceed to the microphone and state your name and affiliation before you state your question. Mr. Yi-san from Doha Daily. My name is Yi. On the 18th in Munich, you talked with Park Jin, the ROK foreign minister, and it was said that the former workers of the Korean Peninsula were taken up as a discussion, and Mr. Park said that a political decision was necessary on the part of Japan. I'd like to ask about Japan's stance and Japan's take on this. I should like to refrain from commenting on Korea's statements with Foreign Minister Park Jin in order to restore bilateral relations to a sound basis. We discussed that we would continue talks on the diplomatic level. In any case, the 1965 normalization of relations has continued to see friendly relations between our two countries. And based on this foundation, we want to restore relations to a sound basis. And in order to further develop that, we want to closely liaise and communicate with the Korean government. Next question, please.
Higuchi-san, Chugoku newspapers. Higuchi of Chugoku newspaper. My question is on Hiroshima summit. It's less than or approximately 3 months, and our preparations underway within the local community. What kind of initiatives will be taken by MOFA to raise momentum? There will be foreign press as well as the leaders. So what's the plan on the part of MOFA? Various studies are underway regarding the specific schedule of the summit. Regarding the participation of youth, in order to deepen the youth understanding towards G7 summit and in order for them to become more skilled in terms of international mood, challenge, and spirit, the staff and employees of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are hosting the summit workshop for local secondary school students on the role and jobs at the MOFA and G7 summit. We will also partner up with the prefectural conference of Hiroshima summit in order to host various events for youth at the summit. Regarding the use of Hiroshima local produces, various proposals and requests have been received, and based upon those suggestions, we intend to actively use the local produces and produces of various places within Hiroshima so that we can communicate the wonders of Hiroshima.
Takeuchi-san, Mainichi Shimbun, please. Takeuchi, on Japan-China relations, I have a question. You met with Mr. Wang Yi and talked about Japan-China security dialogue, and convening thereof was agreed upon. There is a confrontation between the United States and China regarding the balloon. What is the purpose of this meeting that you have scheduled? Between Japan and China, the relations are such that we have various pending issues, including issues regarding the Senkaku Island and the East China Sea, and also increased military activities around our countries along with Russia by China, and also the balloon, which was confirmed within our territorial airspace in the past. We should say what we have to say, and because there are pending issues and challenging issues, it's very important that we conduct a very direct and frank dialogue between Japan and China. We have agreed on the necessity of dialogue, including the summit meeting, which took place in November. This is the general flow, but the Japan-China diplomatic authorities' consultations and Japan-China security dialogue will be restored. It was agreed that we would be restored. It hasn't been held since February of 2019. Regarding the point you have mentioned with regard to specific nature of the consultations, I would like to refrain from saying anything based on prejudgment, but I'd like to properly address the pending issues and challenges.
Next question by Murakami-san of Reuters.
Sakura Murakami from Reuters. Last week, U.S. Secretary of State Blinken spoke of concerns that Beijing was considering supplying weapons to Moscow and warned of consequences should China provide such support to Russia in the Ukraine war. Beijing has denied these claims, but could you explain whether Japan would also take any action should Beijing supply material support to Moscow in the Ukraine war? Also, will this issue be raised in the high-level diplomacy talks with Sun Weidong that is planned later today? Thank you.
On the 18th of February, Secretary Blinken had a meeting with the Mr. Wang Yi, the director of the Office of Central Foreign Affairs Commission, and he mentioned that he has concerns over China studying the possible procurement of lethal weapons to Russia. And I also had a meeting with Mr. Wang Yi in Munich and engaged in exchange of views on Ukraine, and I sought his responsible response. I will not comment on hypothetical questions, but in the chair's statement of the G7 foreign ministers meeting most recently held, we sought the suspension of assistance to Russian military authorities to third parties. We will continue to collect and analyze relevant information and continue our close cooperation with the G7 and other relevant countries to take appropriate response. Further, I will not be commenting based upon prejudice on the specific substance of the foreign authorities' consultations and security dialogue between Japan and China, but we will respond based upon our basic position.
Iwasawa-san, NHK, please. Iwasawa, NHK. North Korea launched a ballistic missile, and there was a UNSC emergency conference. In the conference, China and Russia is increasing tensions, and they could not come to a consensus. What is your take on the result, and what is your view on the reform of the UNSC? On the 18th, North Korea launched an ICBM. And due to Japan-U.S. ROK request, on the early morning of the 21st Japan time, the UNSC open meeting was held, and the majority of members condemned the repeated provocative action on the part of North Korea, including the ICBM missile, which landed within EEZ of Japan, and also pointed out that this was in violation of the UNSC resolutions and expressed a concern about the nuclear and missile development. On the other hand, China and Russia criticized, as they always do, the UK-ROK joint military exercises and made its unique assertions regarding easing of sanctions. Japan, with the presence of permanent mission ambassador of Japan, Mr. Ishikane, to the UN, we have strongly condemned the repeated provocations on the part of North Korea and the violation of UNSC resolutions, and we have emphasized the importance of UNSC performing its original responsibility for international peace and security. And after the conference, part of the willing countries, like-minded countries, including U.S., Japan, and ROK, strongly condemned the ballistic missile launch by North Korea and stressed the importance of UNSC taking action in a press communication. North Korea developing nuclear and missiles threatens international community's peace and security, and it can absolutely not be tolerated. The UNSC, it is regrettable that the UNSC could not take action regarding this serious provocative actions by North Korea and the repeated violation of the resolutions due to negative actions on part of the countries. On the part of the government, we want to closely liaise with other members, including the United States. We'd like to make efforts so that the UNSC could continue to perform the original role that it was intended to perform.
Okada-san, Sankei newspaper. I have a question on Global South. Minister, you've been saying that you will strengthen engagement with the Global South. China and Russia's clout vis-à-vis these countries is increasing. So far, what kind of approach has Japan taken vis-à-vis the countries of the Global South? How have you been trying to strengthen engagement? If you can cite any recent examples, I would appreciate. Japan, since the end of World War II, has been acting as a peace-loving nation. As a member of the Asia-Pacific, we have been taking thoroughly designed, fine-tuned diplomatic policy focusing on diversity and inclusiveness. We try to identify common challenges, respect the counterparty's position, and provide assistance truly necessary for a counterparty. As the presidency of the G7, we want to demonstrate the will of the G7 to uphold international order based upon the rule of law. At the same time, we will take leadership to strengthen engagement with the Global South through active contribution on global issues, including climate change, energy, food, health, and development. This will be the end of the press conference. Thank you.